Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome. It's Saturday morning coffee with Jason and Danielle.
Hello.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Welcome to Saturday morning coffee with Warm N Cozy. I'm Sadie.
I'm Kelly.
Thanks for joining us. Do you have your coffee? Are you ready for a Saturday? I've got my coffee. Thanks to my nieces for this wonderful mug. I use it every day. Thank you. You're the best.
I like the little cat spoon holder.
I got a little, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Here, let me show you guys. A little spoon is a cat, and he just
so cute.
Sits, well, I don't know where I am. Sits on the edge of my mug like this. So lovely. So, we are here today to talk about sewing slump. No one wants to talk about it. We all like to pretend like it doesn't happen to us, but it happens.
I feel like it happens more often than I would like.
Yes, and I know if you're anything like me, when it happens to you, you probably make yourself feel bad about it. And that's not cool. So
don't do that.
We're not going to do that. So my confession is that I am currently in a sewing slump. So I'm trying to get myself out of it. I figured while I was trying to figure out the best ways to do that, I might as well share my findings with you all and get your feedback. What have you done?
Too.
Have you had a sewing slump? And what got you out of it? What did you do? What are your tips and tricks? Let's all share because, this happens to everybody.
The thing.
Yes. Have you had a sewing slump before, Kelly?
I feel like I started, yeah.
Yeah.
Most recently, though, maybe last month.
Yeah.
Was it a full-on slump? I don't know. Maybe it was just slowed down.
Yeah.
Because I hit it pretty good in January.
Yeah. And sometimes, that happens for sure. Okay, so let's say hello to a few people before we get fully into our topic. We have slightly different technology, so please just bear with us, okay?
We're doing pretty great.
So, hi 2.0. It's storming where you are.
Oh,
it's nice here. It was really beautiful yesterday. It's a little chilly today, but should be a good day. Looking forward to it. Hi, Jackie. Hi, Barb and Jan. Good morning. She says it's nice to see us. That's great. Good morning, Vicki. And good morning, Suzanne, who says the slump is real.
Oh, my gosh.
So part of that, not giving yourself a hard time about it, I think, is just normalizing it, right? It happens to everybody from time to time. And it could be for a myriad of reasons. Maybe you've changed up your routine at home and you just aren't finding the time to sew. Maybe you've had a major loss in your life and that has taken the joy out of it for you. Maybe you're just having a creative block and nothing seems to be, the right next project for you.
It's some inspiration.
Yeah, or maybe the project you're working on just isn't connecting with you anymore and it's making you not want to sew at all.
Right.
All of those things happen. I think also it's important to really evaluate yourself and realize what your patterns are. So I am someone who tends to get a little blue in the wintertime. So a lot of people love to sew in the wintertime because there's not outdoor activities and that's their productive time. That is not for me. In the summertime, I'm sad. or in the winter. Because it's cold and I don't want to go anywhere and gross. And there's not enough daylight for me. So I don't typically sew a whole lot in the wintertime. I do more sewing in the summer. So just kind of knowing those things about yourself, I think, are really helpful.
Yes.
Not only just like your time of the year, but also time of day. Like if you're a nighttime sewer or you're an early morning sewer, I think that's good to know. Because if you are struggling and trying to get back at it, and then you're also trying to do it at 8 a.m. and that's not your optimal time, like you're fighting too many things,
I like mid-afternoon.
I'm
weekend sewing.
I'm a midnight sewer. I like the middle of the night when everyone's asleep and the house is quiet. That's my favorite.
I think that's when I make mistakes.
Yes. And I think that's important to talk about too, is not to force yourself. This is a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. You should do
Yep.
it when it's fun. And when it's not fun, or when you're hitting a wall, or you're not at your optimal sewing time of the year or the day, sometimes it's just more frustrating because your brain's not in it and you make mistakes and then you're ripping and now we're mad and nobody
Put it
needs
away.
that. Yeah, put it away. Put that project in timeout if it's not going well,
Right.
all of that. UFOs are real. That's
I have
a
a lot
thing.
of them.
And, I have several projects that are UFOs for various reasons. I didn't like the technique I was using, so things weren't coming out right. Or my relationship with the person I'm making it for has changed, and that makes it difficult for me to want to make it. Or I'm working on a project that I don't have a person in mind for, and sometimes that can make it challenging for me to be motivated to make it. So those are some things we're going to chat about.
Okay.
I'm going to hop back over and say hello and read some comments, and then we'll get back into it.
Cool.
So, good morning to Alvina. And Carol says,
morning.
Just walk through Warm and Cozy.
Find all the inspiration you need.
Yes, that's definitely, we'll get there. We'll get there. It's on my list. Mary says, good morning. So, good morning. Vicky says, it's definitely real. She started a new block of the month, and having a deadline with others may help keep you accountable.
I think that helps me.
For sure. Also, we're going to chat about that. But yes, great point. Good morning, Patty. And Jackie asks if everyone could please keep her husband in mind. He had a stroke on Tuesday, and it's been an emotional roller coaster. Jackie, I'm so sorry that is happening. We will definitely, send
you some good vibes.
Yes. Be sending you all of the thoughts and prayers, and hopefully you make it through this transition time okay. But yeah, that's real. Health challenges also sometimes get in the way of sewing, or life gets in the way of sewing. Good morning to Joanne, I'm sorry, and to Jane, and to Dolores. Good morning, good morning.
Yay.
Deb S. said hello, or good morning
on YouTube?
Yes, good morning, Deb.
Did we tell them that Lydia's pressing the
Oh,
buttons?
yeah. We have Lydia here. She's running the behind the scenes, pushing our buttons and being producer for the day. So if you haven't seen Lydia in a while, it's a great time to stop by the quilt shop.
Sure is. Weren't you here last Saturday too?
I was.
2 Saturdays in a row.
Yeah.
Wow. With speech season and high school and, the life of being a young person.
Always on the go.
We don't get to see Lydia all that often. So it's always very exciting when she's here.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are some strategies to help when you're in a sewing slump? First thing that I recommend.
Wait a minute. You didn't ask AI or anything, Jason?
Oh, I did.
Oh, okay.
Well, I did some research. I clicked around on some websites. I also read what AI came up with. AI is
some off the wall stuff.
Not always great. Sometimes it's not good. Like, you just need a human sometimes. Okay. So one of the things that I recommend that works for me is to just set the intention to spend time in your sewing space. And that may be like
doing whatever.
Yeah, doing whatever.
Okay.
So the goal is not like, oh, I'm going to sew 15 blocks today. Like, don't do that.
That's a lot.
Don't do that to yourself. Calm down. Just be like, okay, I'm going to spend 20 minutes in there. And maybe you're organizing, or you're doing some of the, less brain heavy tasks. Like, you're going to wind your bobbins to get ready to sew.
I like organizing too. Or usually I leave it in a mess.
Yes.
From whatever the time before was.
Oh, always.
So it feels good to put everything back. And if that's all I do,
it
feels good.
It does. It feels good to have a nice, clean, tidy space. I am a very chaotic crafter. So I tend to spread and pile and put things everywhere. So having a nice, clean space, a clean space makes for a clean mind, they say. So that's always good. While you're in there organizing, I say just like convene with your fabrics, your patterns, and your books, everything that you have, all your tools. Spend some time with them. Go through your stash, start pulling stuff. Maybe there'll be something in there that you obviously liked it once, right? So maybe that will spark the next creative thing, and you'll go, oh, I completely forgot I had this pattern.
Uh-huh.
And
I was going to say that 20 minutes can turn into, poof, an hour.
yes. Or I had this project on deck and I completely forgot about it. And that's the thing that gets you excited. So go through your own library of patterns, books, and fabric and see what sparks joy from that. We kind of talked about this, but next I would just say baby steps. Don't put too much on yourself. Sometimes I think my struggle is decision fatigue because,
It's a lot.
when you make something custom, you get to decide all of the things, but that also means you have to decide all the things. So if you're suffering from decision fatigue and you're like, I just can't think about it, I can't make another decision, do some simple sewing. Just get some scraps and start sewing them together. It doesn't have to make anything at the end. Just get into the process of actually sewing something. Maybe you get your orphan blocks out and you're cutting and sewing those together. Any of those I think are a good idea. Another thing that folks often will quote or use is the Pomodoro method.
I just saw that the other day.
Yeah.
I think that's something I could do.
It is something where in order to keep your focus, it is actually better if you take small breaks frequently to kind of keep you refreshed and keep you engaged. I know that I sometimes sewing will do like an 8-hour run and no breaks. That's great.
Break it up.
But sometimes, when you're just starting out, that's pretty intense. So, give yourself small chunks, like I'm just going to do this for 25 minutes. And at the end of that 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break, come back, do another 25. Or another thing that I like to do is I'll just say like, okay, I'm just going to sew for 10 more minutes. And at the end of that 10 minutes, I might go, I could do another 10. And I could do another 10. So some people like to watch a show or listen to a podcast or a book or something while they sew. So it might be good if you, while thinking about what you might also be doing while you're sewing, get something that has regular breaks in it. So like a 30-minute show versus an hour-long show. So that you have those clear, like, okay, I've been doing this for a minute. I need to step away for a second and come back.
I think I tend to lean towards lighter stuff if I'm having anything on in the background.
Oh, yeah.
Just not necessarily that I've seen it before, but maybe something I'm familiar with. So, because I can't focus on a lot of things at once. So, but background noise is good.
Yeah, for sure. It helps. Another thing that can help is if you have somebody that is keeping you accountable. So we kind of talked about that with the block of the month where you're doing a challenge with a bunch of other people and you have deadlines to meet. That can be helpful. Or people often talk about body doubling. Just having another person in the room can help because then you don't feel like you're doing it alone and you're by yourself. Having somebody else there kind of takes the pressure off. So if you have a quilty friend, maybe you can make a date with them where they come over or you go over there or you do an open sew here at Warm N Cozy and you just get with somebody else who's also sewing and their excitement and inspiration can spread to you.
Yep. Feed off of each other's energy.
Absolutely. So that's also another great way. Let's see. Karen says, it sometimes helps to rethink how and where things are stored. A different way may be more efficient. Yes. And I'm also somebody that I will, get a wild hair and decide to move my furniture around. So maybe that's part of it too, is you need to, turn your desk that you're sewing at and face a different direction. That might help. If you believe in feng shui or any of that to align and make everything happy, then, that might be the key. You never know. Paula says, now I call it a break instead of blaming it on my ADD. That is real. So real. I tend to work that way too. I like to be halfway into several different projects all at the same time.
That's probably not good for my ADD. But
right, exactly. But yeah, you know your brain best. So do the things that make your brain happy. That'll help. One thing that they did suggest was to change your perspective. So try a new project, a different type of fabric, a new technique. So maybe you've been sticking with squares and rectangles because those, are easy. Maybe now is the time to challenge yourself and try curves or try a scalloped edge or try paper piecing or any of those things. I know that I have a project that is a curved piece project that I've bought all of the things for, and I'm waiting for the right inspiration to challenge myself.
Have you cut into it yet?
No, absolutely not. No,
Just
I have a beautiful stack
ready.
of fabric and a beautiful pattern sitting on top, and I get to go, oh, look at that. That'll be so pretty when it's done. And then I put it back away for a later date. But quilting is such a tactile hobby, so just getting stuff out and refolding it, touching it.
Yep.
I feel like helps to get that inspiration flowing again.
Yes.
Another suggestion is to make it a game. Like sometimes I have to do crazy things to trick my brain into doing things. Like I will set an arbitrary deadline that doesn't actually mean anything. But sometimes having a fake deadline will, get me motivated to get something done. Or you do a challenge where you're like, okay, I will do 3 blocks today. That's my challenge.
I like that. That's manageable.
Yeah. But again, think about that. Try to keep them realistic. Maybe you're just going to go in and do one step. Like
small goals.
Yeah, I'll go in and I'll press everything and get it ready for the next step of sewing. And that's all I'm going to do.
I've been doing cutting lately.
Yes.
Oh, so I feel like when the time comes, I should zip, 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 sew a lot of stuff because I don't know. I like cutting stuff.
I also like cutting. I think cutting might be my favorite part.
Uh-huh.
I like the planning because that makes my brain happy to think about. And
that sometimes stresses me out too, though.
Yes, for sure. But I like that and I like cutting. What I hate is pressing. Okay, and I know that I hate pressing because I don't have a Lorastar iron in my house. That's part of it. But it's just not the fun part for me. I don't like the pressing. So I'm really good about sewing, getting everything ready to press, and then quitting for the day.
Yep.
That is not the thing to do, okay? Be kind.
We're not quitting. We're just taking a break.
Be kind to your future self, too. And because sometimes I'll go, oh, the next step I have is pressing. I don't want to do that. And that will make my slump last a little longer.
You should come up with some reward system like, okay, next time I go in, I have to press these in order to whatever.
Yeah.
Get ABC.
And I mean, I feel like especially in these current times, everybody talks about the little treat. You got to give yourself little treats.
Yeah. Rewards.
So do that in quilting too. Hey, if I do all of the pressing on these blocks, then I can have a piece of chocolate.
Yep.
All right. That sounds good. Or, if I get this project done, one project out, new project in, okay, that gives me permission then to buy or to plan or whatever. So think about that too. What is going to motivate you to come back the next time? So maybe don't leave your least favorite task for your future self.
Your least favorite and second least favorite. Don't let them pile up.
Yeah. We kind of talked about this too, but just to focus on the process. Like, just get in there and actually turn the sewing machine on, set it up, and put fabric underneath there that doesn't have a consequence. Also with this, I think it's good to return to a tried and true project, something you've done 100 times, maybe not, but you've done it once before. So you're not translating a pattern at the same time that you're
Do you just
fighting.
mean like similar projects, or do you like double make stuff?
So as of current, I have never revisited a pattern.
I don't think I have either. I'm trying to.
But I have been thinking about, which is good because it means that I'm thinking about getting out of my sewing slump.
I make so many things.
I've been
thinking about it.
Yeah, right? if I could make them as fast as I dream them up, that would be great. But I've been thinking about revisiting the Trip Around the World, Quick Trip by Eleanor Burns. That was the very first quilt that I ever made. I made it for my mother-in-law. She loves it. but it's strip pieced, so it comes
Quick.
together really easy. There's only like one seam that you really have to match, and it was such a fun sew. I also did it in a class when I made it the first time, and I think that made it so much more fun because I was doing it with other people.
Yeah.
So I've really been thinking about revisiting that pattern. And that could be a great way to get me out of my slump because I already know basically how to do it. It's all going to be somewhat familiar. So I'm not going to be trying to figure out a new technique or a new method
Right.
on top of everything else. Just simplify things a little bit. Also, I think it can be helpful to start with a small project. Maybe this isn't the time to start that king size wedding quilt that you need to get done, you know? Maybe it is time for you to do a bowl cozy, something that is going to be manageable, that you can start and finish a project quickly so that you get that yummy brain dopamine hit of finishing something.
Yes, like a tabletop or small wall hanging.
Yeah, any of that. So one thing that I do is when I get backing scraps back from long arming, I will cut them into large pieces of fabric and just, sew them so that I can use them as a fabric wrap for gifts.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
So sometimes that's what I got to do is I got to go to my backing scraps and cut those up, and that is not a lot of brain power, but it gets something done. I'm putting it through the machine. I'm going through the motions, and then at the end I have a stack of, oh look, I made something. This is what I did with my time. I'm being productive.
Then you don't have a stack of backing leftovers,
right?
That you're like, what do you do with these? I have some of those.
So you're also
I don't know what to do with them.
Tidying up and cleaning things up, which is another like yummy brain hit. So all good things. Another thing is you just have to brainstorm. Maybe you're in a slump because you just haven't had that right inspiration. So if you're needing inspiration, I mean, you can get inspiration from anywhere, but interacting with art in any way. So going to an art museum, checking out your favorite quilt shops, designers, pattern writers, etc. on social media and see what they're doing. What are they making? What are, that can help. Go to a quilt shop. Just spend some time looking and touching and seeing their samples and seeing what else is out there, what new ideas are around. Go to a quilt show if there's one in your area. There are often hundreds of quilts that you can see all at one time. So that is going to be a huge range of what people are doing in the space that can help bring some inspiration. We also we talked about this the other day on a Wednesday night, but this Quilter's Inspiration Deck. And this is a way to just kind of get yourself out of your usual taste. If you're in like a specific rut, you're like, I don't know what my next project should be. There are 10 different categories of cards. And so it might be like, you're going to start by picking a color. So you have these color cards and you shuffle them and you choose a random one and you're like, okay, red violet is what I pulled. So I'm going to make a quilt that features this color. And that can kind of then have you looking at and approaching your fabric and your make in a different way because you're challenging the way that you're thinking about it.
These are kind of cool. I was looking at them earlier.
Yeah.
It comes with this cute little direction book, guidelines. I guess you could follow the directions. But like you were just saying, you could make it random, like a mystery, see how you like it, plan something, be inspired. Or you can just search through and be like, I like this, 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 and go from there. Less of a mystery.
So all of the categories, they have color theory, number, fabric choice, color, block, design. So this could be like when you get your blocks, your designs are going to all go in this way or all go this way. A different quilting element, mood, which is maybe my favorite because one of them is angry and I really want to make an angry quilt. I just think that would be really fun. Most of the time when I'm making quilts, that's not the headspace I'm in. So I think that would be interesting to see how that comes out. Different layout choices.
That's fun. On point.
And even quilting pattern. Sometimes, you got to start at the end and work your way backwards. So that's another good thought. Let's see. Deb says, sent Sadie 2 pics of my sewing space being cleaned out. What a mess. Can't wait to start EPP again. Yeah. No one should see what my sewing room looks like right now. It is not tidy. So understand that I'm giving this advice, but it's also advice that I need to take. So this is not coming from me being like, oh, these are all the things that I do because I'm so great.
It's so easy to accumulate stuff.
Right.
Faster. You can work through it.
And that's why we need to revisit.
Up.
Yeah. And that's why we need to revisit these conversations, right? Because even if you know, sometimes you just need that reminder to be like, you're right, that does help. Yeah, I should do that.
Don't worry about it. Try not to worry about it.
Right.
Karen said and done.
Yes, for sure. Karen says, pressing is mindless therapeutic activity for me. Solve all the world's problems by pressing ironing. I love that for you. I wish it was that way for me. I just feel like that is time that is in the way of the thing that I want to do.
Next.
Yes. I want to be on the next step.
Evil though for
you. It is. It is. But I feel like almost everybody has that part of whatever process it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, mindless sewing is great. You know, one of the things that I wrote down is like, maybe this is the time that you cut your strips and make all your bindings. I mean, that's not like so exciting, but it does take time, and that will get you again back into using your tools and just getting something under your needle. Deb says, card trick is my go-to pattern. Probably made at least a dozen.
Oh,
yeah, so
quilted one.
Right. You know, yeah, just go back to your tried and true. It's something that you've kind of already worked those grooves in your brain, so it's going to make your decision making a lot easier, right? Suzanne says, need a baby quilt in 2 weeks. Chandelier pattern is my go-to. Yeah.
Oh, those are fun.
Another thing, especially for babies, right? Because babies are kind of a quick turnaround, is sometimes I like to just have one on deck. Well, yeah, that's for sure a firm deadline situation. But sometimes I like to have one already made and ready to go so that I don't have to stress about a deadline. And that way I'm not forcing myself to sew when I'm not in the headspace for it. Deb also says, watching you is my break from cleaning room. So you can talk as long as you want. Great. Love that. But do take breaks. It's healthy. It's good for you. And Nancy says, hi. Hi, Nancy.
Hello.
Any comments over there we need to respond to?
We just had a Brenda from Texas.
Oh, hi, Brenda. Thanks for joining us from Texas. So yeah, brainstorm, explore, come up with some new inspiration. Maybe you need to work in a new color palette. You never use yellow because you hate yellow for some reason. Try to work with yellow, try to see, okay, what can I do with this color that I don't normally work in?
That sounds rough.
Yeah. But sometimes it can break you out of the block.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't beat yourself up. That is so important. Just acknowledge that you're in a slump. Allow yourself to be in a slump. Allow yourself to take time away. I think especially in our culture, there is such a focus on productivity. And so people often feel like they have to be doing stuff all the time, making something, turning something out. And sometimes that gets tied to like your own self-worth. And that is
no bueno.
No bueno.
Yep.
So you are not put on this earth to produce things all the time. Sometimes you got to rest, and you just got to be a human being who exists. So be kind to yourself if you're in that space. It's totally okay. Everybody does it from time to time. But know that sewing will still be there for you. I think sometimes we get this like sunk cost fallacy too, where we're like, oh, I haven't sewn for a week. And then
it's 2 weeks.
Then it's 2 weeks. And then it's a month. And then it's a couple months. And now you're like, oh, I've been away from it so long, I wouldn't even know where to start.
It'll come back, like riding a bicycle.
Yeah, it'll come back. It'll still be there for you. It is fine. No one is like keeping track and writing down like, oh, well, now it's been 7 months. No one is doing that. It's okay.
I think the hardest part is probably to start again.
Yeah.
Just do it. And then after that.
So if that's where you're at, your goal might be spend 10 minutes in the sewing room doing anything.
I've read that too. Like, do it short, 10, 15 minutes. Maybe try to do it every day. If that's too much, a couple times a week, and then it starts to become a habit again too.
Yeah.
You just roll with it.
I think they say it takes 21 days to build a habit. So, also be kind to yourself as you're getting back into it. If it's still not meshing with you, it still may not be time. You may need to wait a little longer. It's okay. Another thing is to do something else creative. Maybe this isn't your groove at the time. I am someone with an abundance of hobbies.
Multiple, yep.
So when I'm not sewing a lot, like currently, I'm reading a lot. I'm just big into media in general. So TV, film, video games, board games, card games.
Yep.
All of it. So spending a lot of time in that realm instead. But yeah, if you have another creative outlet, if there's something else that you like to make, maybe focus on that for a while. Come back to sewing another time. Magazines, blogs, social media, all good places to potentially get inspiration. Again, any way that you can connect and with a community of people. So maybe you have a guild that you're in. Reach out and really join that community, because they are going to share the things that are working for them, and that may be just the thing that you need to make things work for you again.
They might introduce you to new things too.
Mm-hmm.
New techniques or things to try that you were talking about earlier that maybe you haven't tried before. So
yeah, one great benefit
a little bit
to being in a guild, if you aren't in a guild, is that they're able to bring in speakers and host content with new ideas, and some of it may not interest you, but I feel that there's still something valuable in almost any class type situation.
They might do something a different way than what you're doing.
Yeah.
For the same thing, but
sure.
Another route to get to a finished end product.
Right.
Try something new.
Absolutely. So, check out those workshops and classes hosted by your local guild. That can be a great resource. Also, if your local group, whether it's in person or you're doing a virtual group or any of that, do a show and tell and show off the things that you've made and encourage other people to show the things that they have made. That can spark inspiration too.
Those are always popular.
Yes.
Show and tells.
Yes. I love show and tell.
I love it in person, and I could just flip through photos and stuff online too.
Yes. But being with people who understand what you're doing and what you've made and what it takes to do it can be so nice. Because if your show and tell is, your partner or your family members, they might be like, okay, whatever, you do this all the time.
Quilt.
This is not exciting to me. But if you're with another quilter, they're going to go, oh, wow, look at your points. That's coming together. It looks so good. I love this fabric. Sometimes that's what you need,
Yeah.
So build community. If that's with a local guild, a local shop, your quilty friend, you need to find something online. Hey, I have a great suggestion. Join the Quilters Collective, a Facebook group.
In there.
Yeah. Post anything that you make in there. That's what it's for. If you're stuck on something, ask questions. I mean, that is the whole ethos behind that was we were like, we know all of these amazing quilters because they come in here and we get to meet them, but they don't all know each other. So how can we get these folks who are all doing the same thing to be able to communicate with each other? That's what the Quilters Collective is for. So use that resource. Reach out to other people. If you're stuck, somebody else may have just the thing.
I really like scrolling through there, looking at the monthly mysteries. Just, it's the same pattern, but people use all kinds of fabrics. They might set it differently, so they look different too. So that's all cool to check out.
Very cool. I love that. Being able to see the same pattern done in different fabrics is so cool because it just shows you the power of your fabric choice or your layout or those things that you can change to make it all yours. It's just amazing. So check out the Quilters Collective for things like that. We also have, Vicky said, looking at pictures online is great inspiration. And Scott says, high and that he loves all of my projects, which is great. That is actually very nice. Scott, I'm going to brag on you for a minute if you're still here. But having someone who supports you that is in your life is really lovely. Even though Scott often doesn't know what the heck I'm doing. And it took a long time to get him to stop calling rotary cutters pizza cutters.
Well, it could be dual purpose, I guess.
He does, show enthusiasm to all the things I make, which is very great. And I'll even show him my purchases before they're a project. I'm like, "Ooh, look at this fabric." And he gets excited with me, which is great. And I'm like, "I don't know. Don't ask me."
We're just going to look at it for a minute, okay?
Yeah. That can all be very helpful. So, again, these are all the tips and tricks. Will any of these work? Hopefully one of them. Probably not all of them at once.
Pick a couple.
Yeah.
Start with, small.
And
see how it goes.
Yeah, experiment. Maybe you try to sew in short chunks and that isn't working for you because you really are just a marathon sewer. Then, that's not the one for you. Try a different one. But I know those mindless sewing projects, Danielle particularly loves making the jelly roll rugs because she sews up one big long tube and then
just go.
Round and round and round. That, can be another good way to just put in the hours, put in the miles.
I never realized how many jelly roll rugs Mom's made until you just said that.
Yeah. She
She's made a lot.
Yeah. A lot of times when she's stressed, because sewing is her therapy, she'll be like, "Who needs a rug?"
Let's make a rug.
Let's do it. So yeah, I have a rug because Danielle needed something to sew to get her mind off of things. And now I have a lovely rug that is in my house. So that's pretty great. Another thing that really helps me is sometimes knowing where the quilt is going to end up, where the project, who's going to use it, can help me to get inspired to finish it because I can project. They say, this is a John Green quote to anybody who knows, but that says something along the lines of thinking about the future is another form of nostalgia. So that can help to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to make this for my friend and they're going to go on picnics with this quilt and they're going to
do with it.
Yeah, they're going to snuggle up on it on
movies.
Cold winter nights.
Yeah.
And that can help to infuse some of that love and that joy back into that project for you. What else? What other tips do you have, Kelly?
That was a long list.
It was. I feel like it was pretty thorough. And everybody out there, is there something that has worked for you? I know I really struggle when I'm making a project and I don't know who it's for. Because that's kind of what I like to do when I'm sewing is I'm kind of working through not only my feelings about that person and that relationship, but also how I hope that this quilt will improve their lives by making them warm. I mean, I know it's not life-changing, but
Be pretty to look at too.
Yeah, but knowing that I'm making it for someone who's going to love and appreciate it in the same way that I am, that
for sure
makes me very happy. Let's see. Suzanne says, waiting 3 hours for county taxes. I noticed a lady's quilt shirt and we struck up a conversation. That's always great too. When you can be out and about and signal in some way to other people that you're a maker, you're a quilter, you make friends all the time. Yeah. I went to go vote once and was wearing a quilting shirt and the poll worker was like, "You're a quilter?" And I was like, "Yes, I am." And so you make, friends on the fly. It's fun.
Then you can tell them all about it.
Yeah.
And they can tell you all about it.
Right, exactly. And especially when you meet somebody who's creative, it can be so rewarding to both of you to just ask what they're working on, They feel like you're invested in their art and what they're doing, which is great. And you get to hear about their creative process, which may help yours. So always good to have those conversations when you can. And if you're still having trouble, I mean, there are so many other creative things that people do where they get stuck. There's art block and writer's block. So there's tons of tips and tricks out there on the internet for getting through those. And maybe, somebody's writer's block tip is the thing that works for you. So, another great thing that I didn't put down, but like going on a retreat can be a huge way to get out of a sewing slump because you've set the time, you've set your intention.
It's on the calendar.
It's on the calendar. You're going to be with other people. The retreat may or may not have a dedicated project. So that can be another way to kind of, you get out of your sewing space and just into another space. Sometimes that helps too. Vicky says, love sewing in a group. Look forward to long arming because of friends at WNC to talk with and feed off of.
Hey, we just love her.
I know. Vicky,
Thanks,
you can
Vicky.
come hang out anytime. But that is really like one of my favorite parts about this job is getting to hang out with other quilters, people who understand my hobby, and getting to kind
addiction.
of yes. And sometimes, we talked about maybe you need to focus on other hobbies. One of my hobbies is collecting fabric and patterns.
That's a hobby.
Sometimes that's my hobby focus.
I really
for a
like
while.
to collect patterns.
Yeah.
But other things too, like since I quilting patterns. Thread, that's fun.
Yeah. Another confession, I went to another quilt shop yesterday. Bum, bum, bum.
That's good too. I know this is part of your announcement later, but adding things to your calendar and stuff, and special events that are going on, but like shop hops too.
Yes.
So that could help you get inspired, stay inspired.
Because, I'm very familiar with the things that we do here, and I love what we do here. But there are other makers in the area, and we don't view other quilt shops as competition. Like they have a specialty that is different than our specialty. But, because they offer different things, there's stuff in there that I've not seen before.
Yep.
So that helps to spark some inspiration. I did leave with a new pattern that I'm very excited about that I can't wait to make.
I can't wait to see it.
Not
hear all about
anytime
it.
soon, okay?
Put it on the list.
The potential is there.
Right,
It's all about the
right,
potential.
Right.
Kelly and I have been making bags lately. So we've been branching into, some different techniques, doing things that are 3D, having to birth bags. And buy hardware.
Sometimes. Like I really feel like it messed my wrist up back in January.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a wuss I am. I think I might cut out another bag this weekend.
Do it.
And then it'll be ready. I don't know if I'm going to get to sewing it, but
I love cutting out quilts. I hate cutting out bags.
I know especially when there's a lot of pieces and you're like, this goes here, this goes here. Is this going to look right?
Well, and they're
Should I
different
do it all in
shapes,
one
and you
color?
gotta box out the corners, and anyway, it's a whole nother beast. Whole nother beast. But
it's fun though.
Yeah, it can scratch that creative itch while I'm waiting for inspo to strike on my next quilt project.
Yes.
So we do have a few announcements and some things coming up that are going on that may help you with your inspiration, and just fun
For
things
sure
to do.
will.
So it's March, the entire month of March. We are a participating shop in the St. Louis metro area shop hop. There are 9 shops. I've visited many of them. They're all lovely individuals. So please go out there and support the shops. It's a really cool way for us to be able to give back to the quilting and sewing community as shop owners. And it's also a great way for you to get familiar with all of the shops in your area. So you're going to learn that this shop has a specialty in this thing, or that this shop has a great selection of batiks, and this shop has a great selection of kits fabric, and this shop has reproduction prints. So when you're feeling inspired, and that's the thing you're gravitating towards, you know the right place to go.
Yeah.
So that's always great. We're giving away door prizes just for visiting. So just as a way to say thanks for coming and saying hi. We have worked with several of our brands that we carry all the time. They send us some stuff to pass on to you. So we're always happy to do that. And not today and tomorrow, but next weekend, we're having our Shop Hop Sunday. So if you're somebody who works or weekends are the best time for you, we'll have the 15th and 16th. 15th will be open our regular Saturday hours. And on Shop Hop Sunday, the 16th, all of the shops will be open from noon to 4.
All 9.
So great time to visit other shops, see what's out there, get some inspo, find your next project. Also next weekend.
Everything's next weekend.
Everything is next weekend. Next weekend is the Bits and Pieces show. Bits and Pieces is a
Big
quilt
ol'
guild in our area. They're a very large guild. Lots and lots of talented members there. That's going to be the 15th and 16th on Saturday from 10 to 5 and Sunday from 11 to 4. I want to say admission is $10. That's good for both days.
Mm-hmm.
And that is 550 Weidman Road in Baldwin, Missouri, at the Greensfelder
Recplex. Something
Recplex in Queenie Park. They're going to have over 400 quilts.
That's
One
a
of
lot.
their themes is Route 66, so they've got lots of different quilts about different stops along Route 66 that they're
cool.
showcasing.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a beautiful raffle quilt that I think is made out of like shibori type
I've not seen that.
stuff. That's going to be going on. They have demos all day. They have a couple featured projects that I don't have that information at the tips of my fingers, but should be lots and lots of stuff. I mean, they will show quilts in all different categories, so there'll be modern and traditional and art quilts, and so anything that you do in the quilting realm, you should see some representation there. And of course, there'll be vendors there. We'll be there.
Yes. All weekend.
There's lots of other vendors. Danielle's going to do her stripology demo at 11:15 on Saturday. So
that's cool. Very cool.
If you do come, be sure to find our booth and at least pop your head in and say hi, because we would love to see you. We'll have show specials and things like that. So it'll be worth coming by and saying hey. Also, next week, Thursday evening, we're having our Quilts of Valor meeting. It'll be here at the shop. That's March 13th at 6 p.m. So we typically close Thursdays at 6, but we stay open to let Quilts of Valor meet here. And Quilts of Valor is an organization that honors servicemen and women who have been touched by war with a quilt. So you can nominate someone that you know who fits those parameters to receive a quilt. And all of the quilts are volunteer made and donation made. Nobody makes any money off of this. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can come. You don't have to become a member to come to the meeting. You can just come and get information and find out about it and see if it's right for you. But that's another great way to build community.
For sure.
You're also going to be, sewing for charity, which is sometimes, another good way to get out of a creative rut is to make for a good cause. So definitely check that out if that is of interest to you. And another thing I wanted to let you all know is, especially for our local friends, our friends at Fox 2 are going to have us come and visit them again. So we will be on Fox 2 on Wednesday, 3/12. It airs at 9 a.m. and then repeats again at noon. And we will be posting that video. So if you don't have access to Fox 2 or you miss it because you're busy that day, we'll be posting it on our socials for sure. But keep your eyes peeled for that.
Is this the snow day reschedule stuff?
Yep.
Cool.
And if anybody can control the weather, if you could just make sure that March 12th, we have nice weather. I would really appreciate it personally.
All those other days too. Thursday.
Yeah, all those other days would be great. But we've had this planned hangout with Fox 2
a couple of times, right?
And twice now we've had to move it because of weather. So third time's a charm. Time's a charm. It's going to happen.
Yep.
It's going to be great. But they're wonderful. We love them. So thanks to them for supporting us, and we love to support them too. Cool. Deb also said, thanks for the great show. Off to watch the grand girl play volleyball. That sounds like fun. So I hope that you all enjoy your Saturday. Spend it doing something that you like if you can. Yep. We're going to open up the shop.
Come visit us if you're out and about.
Get back to it. If you need a new project, we're here to help. If you're stuck on a project, we're here to help. So come on by. Say hello. We're here. We're shop hopping. We're hanging out. So thank you for spending your Saturday with us this morning. with your coffee. Lou,
Ready?
are you ready?
Yep.
All right.
All right. Goodbye,
Bye.
everyone. Thank
See you later.